Mr. Vella, Ms. O'Gean. Absent, we have Mr. Clare. We do have a quorum.
We'll go to item E, consent items 1 and 2. Is there a motion? Pardon? I'm sorry. Oh, I forgot. I skipped the open forum for the public, limited to 2 minutes. Thank you, sir. Open for the public, limited to 2 minutes. Anybody like to address the town council? Now we'll go to item E, consent items.
Move to approve.
Is there a second? Second.
Motion's been made by Ms. O'Gean and seconded by Mr. Singh to approve the consent items. Mr. Garcia, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Vella?
Yes.
Ms. O'Gean? Yes. Motion passes 4-0.
We'll go to item F, discussion and action on new businesses. Mr. Peña's not here.
He's on his way.
Yeah, he's probably late with the weather. We'll go to item number 2, request for variance by Rada for open carport property line on 496th Street. Mr. Rada?
I think you got a copy of this in your packet, and Ron had no objections. Move to approve.
Second.
Motion been made by Ms. O'Gean, seconded by Mr. Singh to approve the variance for the open carport at 409 6th Street. Mr. Garcia, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Vella?
Yes.
Ms. O'Gean? Yes. Motion to approve passes 4-0.
We'll go to item number 3, request by Ana Maria Paredes to allow access to the garage on, it's supposed to be Calwood Street, not Goldberg. Calwood, K-E-L-W-O-O-D.
Oh, okay, because he wrote it down as Colwood.
It's Calwood.
We understand that neighbors requested that that the gate be closed due to it being a dead end. We've been in business since 2004 at that location. Previous people have been there also and have used the gate. I don't know, I never heard any complaints from the neighbors to us personally. My husband has been sick for the past 6 months with cancer, and if they did complain, they didn't do it to us. They went to the worker. If that is building code, we go along with whatever building code is. It's not a private street, it's a town street. If we cannot use the gate, then we have 50 yards on the side. We need to open it to be able to let the cars, just like when you took your car to get fixed, Mayor, we have to drive it in through somewhere because it doesn't go into the front door. The door on the side is used by a Yandero Chivo, and sometimes he closes it, we don't have access. There is no through traffic from that gate to the other side. We've got a Yandero Chivo with no way to get out. Roberto Scrap has his own door, he has nothing to do with us. Our business has really gone down due to businesses that have come in. Our auto parts store has really gone down. We have very, very little work right now. Very, very little work right now. Not being able to get those cars in to get fixed, which is not even more than, our business has really gone down. It's not like there's 50, 60, 70 cars, you know. Gustavo parks his car on the street, which is the street. He can park on either side of the street. I see, like we've been singled out. There's other streets with dead ends that have to drive through traffic, like Celeste Street, Omar Street. I just don't understand why after so many years, lots of things happen in that street. We have garage sales, there's another person that has a resident there that does mechanic, diesel truck repair. Nobody says anything. We have been, you know, we would like for you all to hear our side of the story and see what you all think about if we have to close it, we close it if it's code. If not, we would like to request to open a door on the side because that's our business, we live on. And we've been here for over 20 years in business and never had any problems with anybody. Everybody around, you know us, Mr. Singh, Mayor, you know us, everybody. I don't understand what the problem is.
All right.
anger. Well, we had some people last week, and we had people complain they have a petition because of the traffic going through there. I want to reflect back on the fact that your business actually fronts on Donovan Street, not on that. That street has always been a dead end. The town of Anthony did not open it, somebody opened it years ago.
Well, it was before us, because
No,
Steve
it was
was
when you
there.
all were there, because I went and I talked to your mechanic
Right.
and your dad. And I told him, this is a dead end street. And at that time, I said, as long as people don't complain, I won't make a fuss of it. So as far as it being allowed, we never opened it up, and the sign is still there, it says dead end. And I can understand the fact, but I don't understand how your business is in the front. Your business is in the front of the building, right, and then the mechanic's right in the back.
Well,
So-
we're all together, it's
Right.
our business,
So I don't
we do
understand
machine shop work, we have engines come in, we can't bring them in through the front door, they're too big. If we have to install an engine, we can't bring it to the front door, we gotta have access to bring the car inside.
That's what I'm saying. If you rent there, I don't understand why you don't have access to the front. You should have access to the front. And I went by there the other day and checked it out, and there's plenty of access to the front. And supposedly I talked to Tenochito, and he has his own separate deal, and he can come in through one side and you all can come in through the other. My question is that, not my question, my concern is that there is concern from the people there, not only about, because if you go there, and I already went and talked to two people, Sendero Cheeto, and I talked to Lopez, and I asked them to clean up their area a little bit more because there is a mess there. I am gonna ask you all to clean it up too, as much as you can. And I know it's a junkyard, and I know it's mechanics, but, you know, there doesn't need to be so much junk around here. If cars are there that are no longer in use, or, you know, we need to get rid of them or whatever. The neighbors don't deserve to be living there, and like we brought it up last time, I know it's a commercial area, but it's also residential there.
I understand.
And as I brought it up last time, you know, I live in a commercial area, and I really can't complain. My house is abuts Little Caesar's Pizza, but it smells a lot better than the oil that comes out of their place. So I don't really complain because that's where I live and that's where I'm at. But if I had something like that would maybe tend to make me sick or tend to just smell bad, you know, I would complain too. So what we need to do is compromise between allowing you all to conduct your business there and the safety of the citizens. So, you know, we're in between. And as I said, that was a one-way, a dead-end street. It was never legally opened by the town. My recommendation is, you know, in order to live with your neighbors is to just, my recommendation is to go ahead and leave it closed and ask you all to kind of clean up a little bit because it is a mess there. I did go by
We'll
there.
clean it, Mr. Franco, but we really need the access to bring our cars in to get fixed. We need to go into, we cannot do it through the front, because sometimes El Llantero Shield puts a lock on the door and I have to go and find him wherever he's at. And, you know, or he's open, you know, he wants his stuff protected too, and you know, Robert is spending a lot of money cleaning up there. We just spent over $1,000 picking up trash and everything else. And okay, we'll clean, but we do need our access. We need to be able to get to the property.
Well, again, like I said, my responsibility is the safety of the community. And I know you mentioned that there's people that are doing mechanic there and they're trying to catch them. There's people that have
Yard sales?
yard sales, but now we have an ordinance in place. In fact, this weekend, they checked every single yard sale in Anthony, make sure they had a permit. We do not charge for the permit. We don't want to make money off it. We understand people need to get rid of stuff. We don't charge for the permits, but it's a way of controlling. Some people would get crazy and have a yard sale every week, and that's more of a business than a yard sale. And in fact, at my house, they had a yard sale, and they stopped and checked our permit. So they are enforcing that. We are trying to come up with, we live in the older part of the town. Things are, have been, how should I say it, not enforced as much, but we're going to try to enforce it without putting a burden on the people, and that the businesses that conduct business out of the homes without either a special use permit or create a nuisance or yard sales or stuff like that, we are starting to enforce it. So that's all I can say on my part. I don't know what the council.
When we rented there, you have the main entrance,
Right.
and then the building to the north. You guys are still way at the very end of the building?
We're at the very end, and we have the auto parts, but with business, the way it's been with, AutoZone and O'Reilly's coming in, our business went down tremendously. So we had to get into something else, we had to.
Okay.
So in the back, sometimes we have an engine overhaul, sometimes we have, we can't get that through the front door. We're strictly doing resurfacing heads or engines, and the only way to get back there is through that, through that back. Because sometimes if Andrea Sheila closes the door and there's no other way to get in, I have to be chasing him all over the place.
And that's the one that he rents, or?
I have no access. Like if he's gone, he takes the key, how am I gonna get in? How am I gonna take a car out from the street? It's not like we have 100 cars, our business is really, it's a street. He goes and parks his car on the side just like anybody else. It's a street, it's a public street.
It's a dead end street. And we try to keep cars from going in there.
Can we open the
Because-
site? We have 50 feet that we can open, just like everybody else has an entrance, we should be able to have an entrance to get in. We have 50 feet.
See, everybody has access on Kelvin Street, everybody has a driveway facing to the street. How can we have a gate on the Kelvin Street, on the property that we have on Kelvin Street? It's also 50 feet. So if we cannot have a gate open at the dead end, like you said, then I'm gonna have to open a gate at the 50-foot frontage that I have on Kelvin Street, like everybody else has got a driveway on both sides of the street.
I would have to look at that. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but the
The
street is a
street
dead end.
is like this, there's 50 feet from here to here.
Now,
We
50
can
feet,
open it like this,
50
and
feet
close the
of-
gate, we'll
of-
close the gate. But we have enough room to open a gate to get in.
you have 50 feet of property facing Kelvin, okay? So in that 50 feet of property that is facing Kelvin, we can open the gate. Because everybody else has got a driveway, so we gotta have a driveway too.
And the same as pays lots of taxes for that property.
Well, this isn't a matter of taxes. There's a lot of people that pay a lot more taxes than that. But just because you pay a lot more taxes doesn't mean that you can.
We're just hardworking people, Mr.
No, I
Franco,
understand. I
and,
understand
you know,
totally, and I've known you
I
people for many
understand
years.
the
I used to
neighbors,
visit
I
your lot.
understand, this is the first ever since I've heard this, nobody ever went to the store to complain to us about anything. We worked on some of the neighbors' own cars.
We have worked on your car, and then you have leave it to there too.
We've helped the mechanic that has that does work there, we've also helped him, all of a sudden.
I
they're just
understand that, but
getting
you all opened it. You opened a dead end street.
Well, the gate was there, and we haven't done anything to the property, Mr. Franco. It was
It's a
there.
pleasure of the council this night. My recommendation to the council is we leave it as a dead end street. As it was before. And it designated as a dead end street. in order to do that, we would have to give them a variance to open it up.
What I recommend that if you're going to continue or be consistent with the ordinance and the way that it's made up right now, of course, it remains as a dead-end street, but they're encouraged to make an application through Ron to explore other avenues of in and out, which could be that side gate. So it's not just closing it off to dead end, but also encouraging an application under Ron, and he might be able to figure out some way, some alternative to do that.
It's a pleasure of the council.
We'll refer it to Ron.
But you go ahead and the motion would be to leave the property as tenant, but refer it to Ron for alternatives. In the event that we'd like to make an application for a gate access.
I'll make a motion to come on.
And there is, if it's made a dead end street, you can make an other entrance, like the driveway that you say? That's what Ron would.
Well,
I second.
I believe we did, move to make it a dead end street in our last meeting, right? Didn't we? We didn't talk about Trelwood Street last?
Yeah, but it was never on the agenda.
Wait a second.
Okay, motion's been made by Mr. Bella to leave Calwood as a dead-end street and to encourage the owners to apply through Ron for alternate access. Is that okay? All right, and Mr. Garcia seconded. Ms. O'Gean, how you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bella? Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, we'll go to item number 4. Request by Jesus Sanchez for partial of park July 7th, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Proceeds to benefit the Cancer Society. Mr. Sanchez is here. We've helped out with the partial before, but I'll let him speak.
Oh, good afternoon. Sorry I'm late. Yeah, we're basically trying to do a car show again this year, trying to help out somebody else. Last year's car show, we helped out a family here in Anthony, and it was a nice afternoon, and it helped them out a little bit, so we're trying to do it again. It's okay with you guys to allow us to do it again. We would like to try to help them out, somebody else.
You know who yet?
I'm sorry?
You know who yet?
No, ma'am. We go to Candlelighters probably and get a family from there.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made by Ms. O'Gean and seconded by Mr. Singh to allow the request by Mr. Sanchez for the car show at the park July 7th from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mr. Garcia, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Vella?
Yes.
Ms. O'Gean? Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, we'll go to item number 5, consider an action on amending garage sales policy. And I don't think we can amend it today, but I wanted to bring up some ideas to you, and I don't know if you all, I can send you a copy of this. It's an article that was in the Las Cruces Sun News this weekend regarding rules on yard sales, and of course we have an ordinance. One of the things that came up that caught my attention, basically we're doing the same thing. There's no charge for the permits. We let the people have full permits for year, right? And I think that's enough for people to be able to get rid of the clutter. Couple of things that caught my mind, my eye was that there's a lot of people that put signs on street signs, on telephone poles, anything that's public, and maybe we need to, I don't know, do we need to add to our ordinance that any sign that is put on public right away, whatever, can be taken down.
Generally, that provision is added if you're looking at some kind of penalty. If you're not a police officer or anybody working, can you just go and rip it off?
Okay, so we don't have to add
You
anything
just go
on
and
it.
rip it
And
off,
then that's,
no consequence.
yeah, people put boxes with signs, and I would say most people pick them up again, but some people don't. So, you know, that could be something that we just need to have our police department pick, if they're on the right of way or especially I think there's, from what I understand from previous years with El Paso Electric Company, there is a law that says that you can't put signs on, a state law that says you can't put signs on state right of way, so, which includes the telephone poles and all of that. So, you know, I mean, I don't want to get real technical about this, but there's some people that go way out and then they just leave them and they fly all over. But the second thing that caught my eye that I thought maybe we could do is, there's been several instances where businesses have garage sales under the venue that they're a business, so that they can have them. And in Las Cruces, they have to get a special use permit for that certain day to have a garage sale. If you're a tire shop and you're selling all sorts of other stuff, you know, you have to get and I'm trying to find the, it says if a sale is to be conducted at a business or other property not used mainly for residential or institutional purposes, a temporary use permit must be obtained from the city. I don't know if it would be, you know, to me it's like they're circumventing the ordinance by saying, well, I'm a business, I can have a garage sale. Can you do that, or?
Well, of course, but you have to be really, really careful about it. For example, if you have a tire company and they hold a outside in the front yard or in the front area, a doll sale, it's easy to say that that's separate from the business. But if you're a dollar store and you decide to sell little plants in the front, you can't really distinguish that. So does that qualify as garage sale premises or having? And so that's where the definition comes in. I haven't seen that ordinance. I'd be interested to see it. But I think that that's an immediate concern because Dollar General automatically gets a buy, whereas the tire company wouldn't.
I tried to get hold of Mary Yagashima, but I couldn't see if you could send us the ordinance. I'm sure you're coming back and we can look at that, but what really concerns me the most is the code to enforce the signs all over the place, that they go all over the place. And maybe and then, you know, the only way you can sell your stuff is to advertise it to a certain point, but maybe you can restrict it for a certain time of the day that the signs can be up and then you have to take them down. So I don't know if you want to look into that, or follow up on it.
Well, what we're doing now, Mayor, is when the individuals put up their signs and we see them, we go throughout the whole day to finish up the yard sales. The following day, if they're still up, the officers take down the signs or go over to the people and say, you guys gotta go pick them up, and if they fail to do so, we just issue them a citation for the littering.
Well, if you want to just continue that, if you want to do that.
Good.
I just thought I'd bring it up, and then I'll look into see if I can get the orders for the city of Las Cruces and see what they do with the businesses, which I'm sure they have to make some kind of a distinction, like you said, between Dollar General, Dollar Tree, and all that stuff. I asked the council at this time to table this item.
Second.
Motion's been made by Ms. Alvin and seconded by Mr. Bell, by Mr. Singh, to table the amended policy for garage sales. Ms. Garcia, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Bella?
Yes.
Ms. Alvin?
Yes.
Motion to table passes 4-0.
I will go to item number 6, council in action on approving resolution enabling the town police department to participate in textile crash system of this part of the town.
What this is basically is TxDOT came out with their crash reports, and as you all know, several years ago, the crash reports used to go to the DPS, now Textile took over it. They're trying to streamline the report process so everybody can be able to get paid out quicker to their insurance and be able to file whatever appropriate charges on the license. And currently now, we have to turn in the police reports within 10 days to Textile. For this program, it'll allow the officer to do the report on the scene or here at the station, and it'll take them approximately about 15 to 20 minutes with submittal time already to Austin, so it cuts us down from 10 days to within an hour. And if you all will approve it, we have an interlocal agreement that I showed to our city attorney. Sees no problem with it in the resolution. And again, it's no cost whatsoever to the town.
It's a pleasure of the council.
Will we get to see the resolution or?
The resolution is in your packet.
Make a motion approved.
Second.
Motion's been made by Mr. Garcia and seconded by Mr. Bell. To approve the resolution for the crash system. Ms. O'Gean, how do you vote? Mr. Bella?
Yes.
Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, we'll go to item number 7, consider an action on creating an economic development advisory board. As you know, we have a project advisory board, and it's strictly an advisory, but it brings together people and come up with ideas. This last week, I went to Austin, and on the flight, I happened to meet with Senator Rodriguez. By the way, he wants to come and do a community meeting. Which I welcomed it, and I need to get together with him and schedule it. Maybe in our next council meeting, he can come out a little earlier or whatever. Anyway, I had a chance to sit down and actually all the flight, I talked to a gentleman from El Paso who used to be Mayor Cook's executive assistant. He's now with the company, and he told me quite a few things that could be possible in Anthony. You know, we talked about TRZs, about certificates of obligation, about bringing in different businesses. This 16th, I believe, we have the rural mayors meeting with Mayor Cook, which brings together all the mayors from all the little communities, and we meet with Mayor Cook. And I'm going to bring up the idea. Years ago, they had brought up the idea of having a arena in Anthony, and Mr. Paxson, who's the owner, actually wanted to donate land. I think to me it's a great idea, but it's something that has to be sold to the city of El Paso and El Paso County, which is hard. There's a lot of money up there, but there's options of having a private company come in and build one too. And there's a lot of areas that fit into where we are as far as being between Las Cruces and El Paso. And of course, with the new exit coming in, that's going to be a big plus for us because it'll open all that for development. So I'd like to ask the council to create an economic development advisory board, and like the point board, it just be an advisory board, but at least they bring people together. I've had quite a few people that are interested in serving on that, so I just want to ask you all to support.
Motion's been made by Mr. Garcia and seconded by Ms. O'Gean to create an economic development advisory board. Mr. Garcia, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Bella?
Yes.
Ms. O'Gean?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
And just real quick, I know Mr. Peña has this raring to give us their report, but there was a certain venture that almost made it to this area, And I was surprised because I didn't know about it. And I don't think any of us knew about it, but a big company was trying to locate in our area, within the Benton, Anthony area. And he basically told me if he had known that we had water and sewer available for that area, and now especially since we have an exit that's going to be moving back, you know, it decreases the chances of people wanting to come into this area. And again, he brought up the fact that our location between Las Cruces and El Paso is a big plus for us. And he mentioned the fact that over 60% of the people, and he got these facts from the city of Las Cruces, from the Pan American Center, is that over 60% of the people that attend concerts in Las Cruces are from El Paso and drive all the way over there. So, you know, it's quite a, if they drive all the way to Las Cruces, they for sure drive to Anthony, especially, you know, us being only 25 minutes away. Anyway, at this time, we'll go back to item number 1. Mr. Rene Peña is here, and he'll give us a short presentation on our audit.
Okay, good evening. I'm sorry, I wanted to invite the traffic backed up a little bit. You have, what I want to do is a brief presentation of your audit report for the for the fiscal year end September 30th, 2011. So this report is half a year past the time. You have the audit report sent to you earlier. We did finish this report months ago and did present it to the mayor's office, and or now bring it over to full council. What I wanted to go over was the report itself, just in general. If you flip over to page 3, well, first of all, it is an unqualified report of the general financial statement. Page 3, page 4, 5, and 6, I'll walk you through just very general so that you have an overview of the financial report. It is, I'm not going to go through all 40, 50 pages, but just a few pages on it. Over on page 3 is your statement of the assets of the primary government. The primary government is composed of 2 entities: the general activities, that's your general operations, and then the business activity, which is water and sewer fund. So if you just think of it along those lines. Your total current assets on government activity on page 3, current assets of $4.4 million. On the business activity, 303. Total assets are $7 million. So basically, a little bit more than 50% of your total assets are current assets, which means you're a fairly liquid organization. You do have liquidity within the organization. Same thing with in regards to your business activity, the water and sewer fund. You have $300,000 of current assets, and then $3.9 million of infrastructure, making up the total $4 million. Flip it over to your liabilities on the second page, on page 4. Total current liabilities are $766 in the current fund, which gives you what's called a working capital ratio of basically 6 to 1. And again, deciphering that means you're very liquid. You have good liquidity to run the organization for general government. On business type activity, your current assets are, current liabilities are 225, current assets are 302. So you've got about a 1.5 to 1, which is an adequate working capital ratio. Over on page 5 is the previous year. Page 5 and 6 is 2010. And if you look between the 2 pages, you'll see that there were just modest changes between between 2010 and 2011. Overall, your total assets were at $7.4 million in 2010, and they're at $7.7 million in 2011. If you jump over to page 7, I think that's the important page. Page 7 is your statement of activity. How did we do as an organization as a whole? What monies came in, what monies went out? For the general fund on page 7, this is 2011, your total expenses this year, general government activity, were $2,182,000. That's on the left-hand side, the total government activity. What that means in English is it cost us $2,182,000 to run the organization, the city. What money came in for that? Well, those are the three columns over to the right. We had charges for services, operation of grants, and capital grants. And in those avenues, we brought in a total of $1,278,000. So that means we spent 2.1, we brought in 1.2. So we had $1 million of other funds that we needed to bring in. Where did we bring those monies in? Well, that comes in from the water and sewer fund. The water and sewer fund cost us $1,078,000. We brought in, into the water and sewer fund, total charges of $1.16 million. So we had a differential there of positive of $200,000. So in the water and sewer fund, we brought in an extra $200,000 to help fund the $1.2 million shortage on running the general government. But we still need $1 million. If you flip the next page, page 8, that's where the additional funds come in to run the government. The government needed another $1,076,000, top right-hand side, and that came in from taxes, interest, contributions, and others. And the total that we brought in this year to reduce that $1 million cost was $956,000. So we ended the year with a shortfall of $120,000 after all the dust settled. The reason for that, the one basic reason for that shortfall. Well, before I go there, let me ask you to flip over 2 more pages to page 10. In the year 2010, you had a positive $230,000 generated of revenue and taxes over your cost. So 2011 went the other way by 120. And the main reason for that was the refund of the grant related to the
That's the Foxworth.
Foxworth property. When that grant, when Foxworth didn't have the, I'm gonna use the wrong number, but approximately 100 new employees, then the city, the Foxworth agreement wasn't up to par. So because of Foxworth not hitting that number, you all had to pay back effectively $250,000 rounded, and that cost you a positive feature this year. So had it not been for that, you would have been on the positive side about $120,000. That's a brief review. So if it weren't for the Foxworth grant, in essence, you would have been close to where you were the prior year on an overall basis. A couple of the other pages that I think you ought to just take note of. Over on page 44 is your budget to actual comparison. In total revenues that you anticipated, you were anticipating revenues of $1,611,000 when you did your budget. In aggregate, you actually brought in $1,848,000 plus another $246 for the debt service fund. So you significantly exceeded your budget on your total revenues between taxes, property, and such. And you can run down the line and see the different areas where you actually exceeded quite a bit. The only area that you did not exceed significantly was on the street rentals. You did have a reduction there in actual versus budgeted revenues. And then on the expenditure side, you can just see running your fingers down we budgeted $630, we spent $920 and $1, running down like equipment purchases and such. Jumping over to page 45 with the total. In total expenditures, you had budgeted $1,495,000. Your actual expenditures were $2,986,000. It had an additional expenditures of $1.4 million in the budgeted area over in the actual expenditures over the budget based on the various numbers that were there. A lot of those funds came in from the next column, proceeds from the debt, refinancing the grant, and net operating transfers of $292,000. And again, these pages should be used for preparing the budget for the next year, so you have good guidance as to what did occur. Over on page 46 is the previous year, 2010. And then the last page is just to point out on page 53 or 52 are the pages for your budget to actual comparison on the proprietary fund, on the water and sewer fund. We had budgeted 1,078,000. We actually brought in 1,168,000 in revenues. Over on the next page, you budgeted 1,071,000, and you actually spent 1,079,000. So you brought in significantly more, 90,000 more than you budgeted, but you saved within $10,000 of your expenditures on the water and sewer proprietary fund. I won't go into it, but over on page 57 and 58 are the pages related to the prior, 57 only, are the pages related to your actual total expenditures of 2011 versus 2010.
I do want to make a point, and this we did make the point that we went before the Texas Water Development Board. We actually came out ahead in revenue, but because of you had to, as a bookkeeping or accounting practice, had to put the property on Foxwood Galbert into the picture. Actually, it showed us a loss, but we didn't have an actual loss as far as money-wise is concerned. Is that correct?
Correct, and I clarified, what they did is, for accounting purposes, we had to recognize the whole loss this year. But for cash flow purposes, you have a 20-year note in which you'll be paying that out. So it is not funds directly out of the financial coffers of the city.
So, if we sell it 2 months down the line, or say we sell it after October, we'll show a profit of so much, but it will actually be a profit because we have to pay it off. Is that correct, sir?
That's correct.
I just want to make sure, because there's people this year came back and said that we had lost $1.6 million, which was ridiculous, but, you know, people don't know how to read the audit, they don't know how to read the statements, and they just make fools of themselves or act like idiots. I don't know if they are or act like them. I want to make sure that, you know, our revenues are in place, and we're hoping that next year we get the additional revenue for the growth that we had and that we're having. So, there was another point that I wanted to make. I want to make sure that, you know, since getting rid of our former bookkeeper, now things seem to be in place, and right now, Mr. Peñas, one of Mr. Peñas,
One of CPAs.
CPAs is helping Cindy, so we're working, instead of waiting till the end of the year, they're working together right now, correct?
If I can throw in very brief on that, your former bookkeeper not only caused you extreme costs in 2010, but we didn't recognize the amount of damage until midway through last year, fiscal year 2011. So unfortunately, I'll use this term, he left a legacy of cost with you, of extreme negative cost. And the majority of the findings that we have relative to the audit were all related to that effort. And again, I'm just going to say very unfortunate. It actually cost you money because of fines and penalties and such that he incurred by not making payments that he should have for payroll and various issues. And again, we didn't even take note of those until March of 2010. So,
Which, by the way, he also suckered City of Horizon on that with a lot more money, but, you know, that's the way things go. We would highly recommend it. Any questions from the council?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Peña, I really appreciate it, and we had talked about doing a mini audit or something.
well, what we're doing is an interim. We're starting 2012 fiscal year audit now, quite honestly. We're allowed to do interim work where we review your revenues and expenditures. And so by doing that, if we find any issues, they can be corrected right now, and so they don't have to be reported on your year-end report because they'll be fixed up by September of this year. And so we'll do 2/3 of the work now and then wrap up after the fiscal year.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Peña. What's the pleasure of the council?
I'd like to approve the 2011 audit report.
Second.
Motion been made by Ms. Holguin, seconded by Mr. Singh to approve the 2011 audit report. Mr. Garcia, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Vella?
Yes.
Ms. Holguin?
Yes.
Motion to approve passes 4-0.
Okay, streets, not here, none. Parks and Recreation.
As always, it looks like everybody's been working really hard. Everybody worked hard for the tournament, and the whole for the tournament. They're working. Thank you.
Police and Fire.
We had a total of $610 received from reports and fingerprints. This month we had 4 family violence reports. Our deaths were up by at 11 deaths this month. We had 11 arrests for paraphernalia and recovered narcotics.
Water and Sewer. Administration, the only thing again, I want to reiterate what Rosie said. I want to thank everybody that was part of the showdown. I want to thank Mayor Crane who came down and the councilwoman from Village of Vinton. I want to thank Representative Dean Margot who was here for our presentation tonight, and especially the Border Patrol who provided the honor guard for us, and
The young lady that sang the national
Marissa
anthem.
Lavadio, who
Very
sang
good
the
job.
national anthem, did an excellent job. It turned out really, the people were really happy, and we fed a lot of people. There was a lot of food and a lot of fun, and everybody enjoyed themselves, and hopefully we can have some more. I do want to mention, that's what I was going to say, that the audit report this time was on time, and of course, before it wasn't on time because of the circumstances with our former bookkeeper. Tomorrow I'll be attending a meeting in Van Horn for the West Texas Regional Review Board, which was appointed to the board by Governor Perry, and we sit with the on coming up with the agenda for new grants, and so I'll be out there all day tomorrow. I did get a petition from the people, me dio un señor Sarabia una petición, y lo voy a hacer, lo voy a poner en el computador y se lo voy a mandar a todos para que ellos revisen lo que me dio usted, ¿ok?
Sí, sí.
And this last week I attended a seminar with the Texas Municipal Human Resources Association, and don't believe took some dollar charge of the rules, and it wasn't that much. But I learned a lot of stuff, and it's interesting, and every time we pick up on something new, and we pick up on something that has been added, and I'll send you all some information regarding that. And that's about all I have at this time. Anything from the council? If not, this meeting is adjourned at 6:47.